everybody, I'm LaserDude99. Welcome to another LaserDude99 review in a temporary location. This location should change after December 1st. I finally got a place, but I'm not going to be moving in until after December 1st. So, let's get now that we got that out of the way, let's get on to the topic for today. We got Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. This is an interesting movie. I had a mess of a time for the theater I saw it in, but I'm going to be doing a funny thing happened video on that because, but I won't go into it in here, but the movie itself, it's a weird experience, okay? It's the Hunger Games. When you would ask what's the story, it's simple. You can sum it up in one sentence. Katniss joins the resistance and is starting to fight back against the Capitol. That is virtually all that really happens in the movie. I heard that they were doing this, that were splitting the last Hunger Games books into 2 parts. I kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, on the one hand, yeah, I would like more Hunger Games stuff. True, it's a good series, and I'm really enjoying it. But is this going to feel stretched out? You know, like books. Okay, books and movies are different, right? I've covered this in a rant about how movies and books have different things to offer, but the one thing that most of them follow is a simple story structure. You have your opening, your rising action, and then your conclusion to the story. And it doesn't need to be a full conclusion, but it needs to be a conclusion to that part of the story. You know, the first Hunger Games, it ended with the end of that Hunger Games. The second Hunger Games movie, Catching Fire, ended after there was a big cliffhanger and everything, but it ended after that segment of the story was over. This one, it feels like it's ending in the middle. Is that bad? Well, I don't know, because let's take it back to the characters. We got Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen, and she kills it. She's become the character of Katniss Everdeen has become one of the best female characters in all movie history. Not the best. I'm not ready to say the best. I still stand to say that Sarah Connor is the best character in movie history. But in any case, she is one of the best characters in movie history. And the interesting thing is that, like, she's a really human character, you know? She's not this person that can just shrug everything off. She treats things like a human, but she is able to overcome her struggles. Now, so Jennifer Lawrence is really good. And the main problem I would say with this movie is because this is half a movie, we get a bunch of new characters introduced. We don't really get to see much going on with what's happening with the older characters that were introduced in the second one. Like Finnick Odair is like really pushed back to the side, and he was one of the main features in the second one, and one of the characters that I really enjoyed. And Johanna, but she only shows up in like the last. And she only shows up in the end of the movie because it's all told from Katniss's point of view, and she was captured. So, and one of the big things is Peeta. You know, the thing about Katniss is she's a good, strong character, but what makes her, what makes the flows of the movies kind of really work is that she's working off of these other kind of extreme personalities in some ways. Woody Harrelson is the straight-up drunken mentor. We got, Elizabeth Banks as the prissy fashion one, and they really barely have anything to do in this movie. Each one of them is given like one scene, and then that's it. Then they're just gone. They're not gone, but they don't do anything other than that one part of the movie. It's just basically a scene to remind us that they're there, and okay, like, you might say, well, Elizabeth Banks didn't do that much in the other movie as well, but you got characters, like I said, Finnick, who barely does anything, and he's nearly just, I'm just like, well, what's he doing? Why is he not doing stuff? This Beatty guy, the tech guy, we get some stuff with him, but I don't really know too much of his feelings on everything, you know? And then there's Peeta. Now, I like Josh Hutcherson as Peeta. I really got to enjoy Peeta's character in Catching Fire. And he's in the movie, but it's only like in short segments, and we're never seeing the story through his point of view. So we only see like a quick few segments of him, and he's saying like, the Capitol is nice, the Capitol is good, and you guys should trust the Capitol. And everyone's like, no, you traitor and you monster and whatever. I'm like, okay, what? Well, I'd like to actually see what's going on his side, but I guess I can't, because we're all seeing this through the eyes of Katniss, and if you want to keep the story consistent throughout the stories, and that's what we've been doing, okay, fine. But, I don't know, it's just... I wanted to see more of them, and then we get these other characters that are thrown in there, but I don't really know much of them other than what their job and title is. Here's the problem. Like I was saying about the others movies, this one feels like it's all set up and no conclusion. And, like, you can have movies that leave stuff hanging. I'm not saying that this needed to wrap everything up and have the fourth movie, just start anew or something like that. But it was interesting to see how the flow of the story happened. I was really surprised, and this might be a little bit of spoilers, but I was really surprised when I found out that there was only one action scene in the movie, and they showed it in the trailer. They showed most of it in the trailer. Like, of course, they showed the conclusion of it, they showed parts of it, and I'm just like, well, wait, by the end of the movie, I'm like, well, that was your main action set piece. You shouldn't have shown that in the trailer. Because I was thinking that was just going to be the warm-up action scene, then later they show another action scene. But not really. I mean, like, not with Katniss. Katniss is only in one fight scene, and that's it. Now, I get that the Hunger Games are not straight-up action movies. I'm not complaining that there's not enough death and destruction in the movie. It's just... action scenes help bring up the intensity. You know, you can have talking scenes if you want. Talk, but as long as you have some action scenes in there to bring up the intensity, to bring up the stakes, and to bring up the, to bring all those stuff up to make it more intense and entertaining, then they can, really lighten the mood, where there's more talking and not really a lot of action things, and because of that means it's a little bit more boring. Not saying the movie is boring, because it's still a really good movie, I still really enjoyed it, but it's not as memorable. I mean, but there are some stuff that I really do like about it. I'll talk about the best thing that I really like about it. I like how it shows how the world is inspired by Katniss, how the stuff that she does inspires the world to be better and to do better, and you can tell that the stuff they're doing is costing lives of a lot of people, because they don't have a whole bunch of weapons that they can just use to, kill all the peacekeepers, because that's not how it works. There's tons of scenes where they're using human bodies as like human shields, and they're all like running into something that a lot of them are dying at, and they're basically sacrificing themselves, but it's all because they are inspired by Katniss to do better things. And like, there's this one song in the movie that Katniss sings, and I don't know if it's actually Jennifer Lawrence singing. I think it is. It sounds like it, but if it was like a stunt singer, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if she can sing or not. But in any case, she sings this song, and then it goes to this other part of this Pan Am, and she doesn't do anything, but she sees all these people that are singing this song too. And I thought that was like, wow, it's almost showing how these people have almost like a cultist obsession with Katniss, and it's kind of using this whole society's way of brainwashing people against them, because that was what the Hunger Games were all about, to brainwash people into submission. And now they're almost kind of using the brainwash in another way in order to free everyone. And it's kind of you got interesting parallels between how Snow is handling things and how this new Madam President, I don't remember her name, played by Julianne Moore, how she is handling things, and you kind of went, wait, she's doing the right things, but does she really have, the best interests of the world at heart? Are we just going to trade one dictator for another? Or is she, actually really good? I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's totally wholesome. Maybe that's just stuff that I'm reading into and I wasn't supposed to. I don't know. But in any case, there's this song, and I thought, wow, this is a really nice song. And everyone's singing it like it's like the new anthem of the world. Huh, that's interesting. And then the next day, I was just in a Walmart and I found myself whistling it. Now, then I found myself going on iTunes and seeing if I could find the song on the soundtrack. It's not there, which is weird. I mean, because that'd be, it's the only actual song in the movie that's not in the credits, so, I don't know, that I'd actually want to listen, I don't know, I like that song, so I'm just saying that I want to actually listen to it. Anyway, it's a good song, Gail's in this movie a lot more. I find Gale fine. There's a scene that he has which is really good. There's a lot of good emotion in this film, and I find that really good. I still am not a fan of the whole love triangle stuff, but the way they handle it, it's not too bad. I mean, we get the fact that Katniss doesn't even really know what she feels. I mean, she's kind of contemplating with herself, does she actually love Peeta? Or is she just doing this because he's a really good friend who would have sacrificed himself for her? And we got those type of questions going on. I'm hoping that, it feels like this is, as I said, it's a lot of setup and not a lot of conclusion, not a lot of breaks in action. Not a lot of action for there to be breaks from. There's lots of breaks in action because there's a lot of talking. I will say it was a little weird to see Philip Seymour Hoffman because, okay, it's like, when I'm a guy who doesn't know Philip Seymour Hoffman personally, in my mind, everyone's just over there, right? They're over there in Hollywood, they're doing their stuff, and so when you see someone on the screen, it's almost like they're still alive in your mind, because you never met them in person, therefore, when they're gone from your... It's like, if somebody dies in your personal life and they're gone, you know it in your heart because you were with them and you were personal with them. But if someone dies who you don't know and you see them again, it's almost like they're still alive in your mind because you're not seeing them as an actor who has died who is still on the screen. You're seeing them as an actor on the screen. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling on now. I think that I nearly called it Catching Fire. I keep on getting Catching Fire and Mockingjay mixed up. I keep on saying, I kept on saying to people, I'm going to see Catching Fire tonight. And they'd be like, what, don't you mean Mockingjay? I'm like, yes, Mockingjay. And for a movie guy, you should not do that. Anyway, I think I've said all I need to say about this film. I think that it's a good film, not as good as the first two, even though the emotions might be higher in this than the first one. I still think the second one is the best out of the series. I think that the problem is it doesn't have the pacing and the flowing narrative as the other ones do, and that brings it back. I still think it's a solid flick. I still like the action. I still think the characters are well done. I just wish I saw more of the characters that I already loved and that I got to see more stuff happen. The only thing that happens in this movie that I can say is something happens to Peeta and Katniss joins the rebellion. That's the most... what can I say happened in the second one? I could say that Peeta and Katniss were forced to be together in a relationship that they had to pretend that they were in love with each other, and that brought tension to the relationship, but they became friends, and throughout the film, they started to... the Capitol starts to realize the power that the Victors have, and so you have more of them trying to get rid of the Victors, and then this culminates into the victor scene that they have a little bit of power when they're able to stop that guard from whipping Gale, and then you can see how that transitions Snow, and Snow is being influenced by Plutarch, and Plutarch is doing stuff behind the scenes, and then you get this Finnick guy that you don't know anything about, that you might like. He might be good, might be bad, you don't know. And you don't know that about a lot of characters, and a lot of stuff is going on. And I don't know, I'm just saying, there's more stuff in the other films that happens. And this, the most that happens, Katniss joins a rebellion, meets some people, the rebellion is starting up all over the Pan Am, and something happens to Peeta. That's about as much as I can say. So I'm hoping that the fourth one is going to be the best out of them. I hope that they've gotten all this setup out of the way with this one. That you know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that when both of them are released, I'm hoping for like a extreme edition or something like that, where it'll just be Hunger Games Part 1 or Mockingjay Part 1 and 2 together. Because this movie doesn't feel like a complete movie. It feels like this is the episode of a cliffhanger on a television show where, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a full movie to me, and that brings it down a little bit. But in the end, I'm going to be giving The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 a 7 out of 10. Still a really good movie, but it's going to be probably the least memorable out of all of them. But the acting is still really solid. The characters that I like are there. They're just not there enough for me to give it a higher rating than that. And, yeah. So, thanks for watching, everybody. See you around.
Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.